Hi, this is Mackenzie. Hey, this is Owen. Don't forget to like our show and subscribe.
This podcast is brought to you by the Love and Kindness Project Foundation. What is one thing that you could do to think, speak, or act kindly today? Go to loveandkindnessproject.org to learn more. Before we begin this podcast, if you or someone you know is in crisis or needs emotional support, there are tools that can help. So get yourself a pen and paper or open a note-taking app on your phone or computer. Feel free to pause this episode while you get yourself ready. The episode starts at 1 minute and 6 seconds. You can call Talk Suicide Canada at 1-833-456-4566. You can text 45645, which is coming in the fall of 2023. In Canada, you can also call 988, the Kids Help Phone at 1-800-668-6868. The Trans Lifeline in Canada is 1-877-330-6366. And in the United States, 1-877-565-8860, or call 911. You are not alone, and you do not have to be alone. I would like to honor and recognize the traditional and unceded territories of the Katzie, Kwantlen, and Semiahmoo nations on whose territory I live, work, and play. Welcome to We Are the ADHD Family Podcast. This podcast is meant to chronicle our journey with ADHD, autism, and other discoveries along the way. I reach out to advocates, experts, individuals, and other families that want to raise their voices and empower those on their journey. My name is Mark Smeets, and I am passionate about removing barriers for others through creating connections and building on strengths and practical problem solving. I am married to Siobhan, a parent to 2 wonderful kids, and all of us have ADHD. I want you to feel like you have power and hope. And now, into the episode. So the other week I came downstairs and I'd asked the kids to get ready. So I yell from upstairs and I say, "Hey, are you guys dressed?" And both the kids answer yes. Fantastic. So come downstairs and I notice that Owen's in his underwear. He's got socks in his hands and he has no other clothes. And I don't know how he thought, he just turns to me and he goes, "But I have socks on." Like, they're on your hands, son. This is not dressed. Welcome to a new episode of We Are the ADHD Family and the Advocateurs. Well, in the previous episode, I was talking about the reaction that I received my wife and I received when we tell people, "Hey, our son's autistic," or "I have ADHD," whether it's to friends, families, other people that come along, just that reaction. And quite honestly, I'm stunned by the range of responses that I received, or that we've received rather. And I didn't understand why until some self-reflection later on, and now I understand why I was hurt. People just don't know how awesome both of our kids are. And so in that episode, I shared some stories of just some of the amazing things that we've been able to do with my son, with our son, and with our daughter, just not having the pressure to be that rock star or rocket scientist or the president of something or other, that she is free to be who she is. One thing that I don't think people understand is that a diagnosis really is the key required to get any sort of help or assistance. I think there needs to be a bit of a reworking on that phrasing, but it's not just to get any help or assistance. It's really about helping us build our kids to be the amazing people that they can be. And I think as parents, we see that, disability or no disability. But these things get viewed as a label. And again, I believe I referenced the scarlet letter hanging around somebody's neck. And that's not the case with this. So in this episode, I decided to reach out to other parents, and I wanted to ask them basically 7 questions about their experience to see, were there any similarities, differences, how they felt, what they did to react when they found themselves in such similar situations than my wife and I did. I am very grateful that my 3 guests were willing to share their experiences and be so open. All of us hope that you don't feel alone when it happens to you, and that you can respond in a strengths-based and kind way to educate somebody, and you can show them how amazing your kids are. Let's get into the guests and hear their story.
Hi, my name is Tana. I'm the mother of 3 beautiful boys who are all ADHD, and my middle guy is also autistic. We started our journey through our neurodiverse world about 6 years ago. As a member of the 60 Scoop, I've been seeking and learning my heritage. I'm grateful to be learning and sharing that knowledge with my kids. Music and story have always been grounding for me, and I find it to be a great tool to connect with my kids as well. As I walked the path to find supports for my kids, I found areas that needed to be addressed. It's ignited a passion in me that I'm not only to help my kids, but to make this journey easier for other parents. Thanks to the support from Facebook groups, I've realized that I wasn't alone. But on the same note, I was also saddened to realize that I am not alone. There's so many parents out there in the same situation. To get our kids' needs met, it should not be such a struggle. And I find myself in a community with other parents that want to share this same voice. I'm excited for the next steps that I can take to help bring change to the kids in BC.
When you tell someone your child has a disability, do you use the specific terminology? Do you say disability, or does it depend on the situation?
Typically, I call it like ADHD or ASD. I try and read the faces of the people to see if they have any knowledge of the terms. And if they have a question mark on their head, I'll go a little bit deeper to offer an explanation, or to see if they have any interest in their faces. Then I'll engage a little bit more on that conversation.
What do you do when someone replies in a way that shocks you?
I don't think I'm easily shocked. The most shocking moments I had were actually by closer family and friends. I think their initial reactions were maybe based on like a fear and a denial, as if acknowledging it, the ADHD or the ASD, that it was meant like as something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I find most people are not educated in the special needs. And say things that are offensive because they're naive and just lack of understanding. I take it as an opportunity to educate them and let them know if they seem open to receiving.
What are the responses that you've received then?
Like the ones that were most off-putting, or
Yeah.
like
Sure.
so,
Like, well, I mean, you could, if there's a range, there's a range. Not everybody, there's, I again, like, us knowing each other, and finding out, and I will do this and tell people, but it's like, oh, your child has ADHD. Oh, that's so awesome, because I am too. Or like, oh, hey, your child's autistic. That is so cool. I want to know about, whatever they're working on or something like that. Like, tell me about your child. Not everybody replies like me, because I'm just weird like that. But what are the typical responses that you do get?
sometimes people are a little bit more engaged. They'll like ask a question. They're like, what does that mean? How does that present? Some people just kind of like skim over it and ignore that it's anything. There's a lack of acknowledgement. And I feel like that is usually from like a lack of education and a lack of understanding. They just rather not acknowledge.
Does that off-put you when they don't want to acknowledge?
Not necessarily.
No?
I do try to offer a little bit of information to see if there's a little bit more of a bite, because I do like to pass on the education and the awareness of ADHD and ASD and how present it is in our world. I do find in the more discussions I'm having, the more common it is. So I find other parents that are saying, "Oh yeah, my son or my daughter have ADHD, or they were just recently diagnosed, or we're getting assessments for this." It just the commonality of it is so much greater at this point.
I should just clarify that the acronym ASD, for those that don't know, it's shorthand for autism spectrum disorder. That's all it is.
Here is a 20-second kindness break.
Mackenzie, what is one kind thing that you can do for somebody who is new to your class?
Show them around.
Owen, if you see someone is having a hard time, what is one action that you can do to help them?
Take the time to listen to them.
Hi, this is Siobhan from the Love and Kindness Project Foundation. Check out loveandkindnessproject.org and find other ways to carry out kind acts or start a kindness project of your own.
How many people have you had try to fix your child with ideas or remedies, or try this natural product? Oh, you must have tried ginseng will clear that up.
I haven't had that many people offering natural kind of things.
Mm.
I found, let's see here, there was people in the school system that were first trying to offer a fix of the medication. And that is completely a personal choice. I decided that it was probably better for my kids after doing some research and investigating the science behind it. I felt that the medication was important. I found it off-putting at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I spent quite some time educating myself on ADHD and its effects and how it works and the things that are beneficial. A lot of, I think other advice or fixes may have been suggested was like a tough love kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I, in my research again, was I was like that's not the answer.
Yeah.
Expecting this kind of brain to conform to other people's expectations, it's not fair. It's not fair to that brain. And it's frustrating as you putting the expectation. Like it's not fair on either side.
Yeah.
And if people would educate themselves, they would realize that maybe it's just a different approach to get the response that you're looking for.
Have you ever had anybody declare that they don't know how to respond?
They haven't actually said they don't know how to respond. I think when they don't know how to respond, they usually say "Oh, I'm so sorry," kind of like a sad kind of underlying thing. I don't feel it's sad at all. I love the way that my kids think, their energies, the things that they delve into. They have so much passion with it because that's the way their brains work.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. So I don't ever feel like it's something to be sorry about.
What do you want people to know about your child, your kids? Not just one child, but what do you want people to know about them?
Oh, just kind of like how amazing they are. They're just like every other kid. They just kind of want to fit in and belong and be accepted. They want to share their passions, maybe on a grander scale. Their appreciation and lust for the things that they love is like so outstanding. I just think, I don't know, about my kids. Maybe if you're feeling a little frustrated with one of my kids, to take a step back and think about how you could approach it differently. That's something that that's a piece of advice that I give about my kids. If you're not getting what you're looking for, then take a step back for a second and reevaluate your approach.
Yeah.
Because I'm in control of how I interact, not how somebody's going to respond to me.
No, and you've got both of us, we have the lived experience of raising our kids, and we know what works. But other people who don't have that lived experience will just sit there and they won't have the same considerations that we do. They don't. And it's unfortunate because kids will be given that label of, oh, they're a bad kid because they're not listening. Well, maybe if they hadn't been put in that situation and that person had done some forethought into what the possibilities are of something going on, maybe it would have been different. And it goes for a question, goes for when you're going out. It's something where it's not an incredibly difficult thing to do for some of us to just it's not putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's just thinking ahead of other possibilities half the time. And from that theory of mind perspective, where, someone can't place themselves in somebody else's shoes to understand that, that's why I wanted to phrase it that way, because not everybody can place themselves in there. I look at my own son and I know he can't. It's really kind of funny a lot of the times.
It's funny because when you're talking about how placing yourself in somebody else's shoes, I have post-concussion syndrome from being in a couple of vehicle accidents. And I think that has offered me a lot more compassion for my kids when, as I was as post-concussion, I lose focus and I get distracted and I forget things. So I created my own systems to kind of work through it. And I find incorporating some of those systems into my kids' daily lives is beneficial for them as well. I don't know if I would have had the same level of patience or compassion had I not had my experience either, to be honest. Yeah. I think that I can be very focused and maybe narrow-minded at times.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think I'm actually very open-minded in a lot of things.
I like to think that for myself as well, but quite honestly, I've had more than a fair share of people tell me that my head's located somewhere behind me. And we'll keep it there. Okay, so the last question is, what do you want people to say to you when you disclose these things and you tell them about it?
I think acknowledging, first of all, what they've heard is a good response. Like with either like a question or a validation of their level of understanding would be good. And if they don't have it, like if they don't understand at all what ADHD or ASD means or neurodiverse, all of that, if they don't understand some of the terminology, to simply ask a question. Because getting any knowledge or awareness for yourself is good, and being able to share it and pass it on is even better.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to the being open-minded.
Cool. I love that. I hope you enjoyed the thoughts and conversation we just had with our guest. I have split up the conversations into 3 separate episodes since we had 3 guests, so I hope you're going to check out the other stories and hear about their lived experiences. If you want the full version, though, please consider becoming a subscriber.
Thank you for listening to our show.
If you're hearing this message, you've reached the end of the episode, and for that, I want to say thank you. I hope you have enjoyed what you've heard and are walking away with newfound knowledge.
We are the ADHD family.
See you soon for a new episode. I have 3 things to ask of you. Number 1, if you have any comments, questions, or guest ideas, please leave a comment on the Facebook page. Number 2, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps people find us. And number 3, if you want to be a guest on the show or know someone who would make a great guest, contact me through our Facebook page. This podcast is open to everyone. You don't need to be an expert, just passionate and want to see change. The opinions expressed by the host and guest are not associated with any employer or organization unless otherwise stated. Any medical information on this site and podcast is provided as an information resource only and is not to be used or relied on for any diagnostic or treatment purposes. This information does not create any patient-physician relationship and should not be used as a substitute for a professional diagnosis and treatment. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any healthcare decisions or guidance about a specific medical condition. The show, host, and its guests expressly disclaim responsibility and shall have no liability for any damages, loss, injury, or liability whatsoever suffered as a result of your reliance on the information contained in this site or show. By visiting this site and listening to this show, you agree to the terms and conditions, which may from time to time change or be supplemented by the show host.